Welcome to the Light Show. I'm your host, Brother Cflo, and we're so glad you tuned in. Out of all shows you could be watching, you tuned in to us, and we're so grateful, guys. And for that, we got a special treat with us here today. We got my brother Thr33 in the house, all the way to San Antonio, man.
What's up, man?
How's it been?
Been good, man. Been out on tour.
Yeah?
I believe this is our 6th or 7th stop on this tour.
6th or 7th stop, okay.
Yeah, we still got to go. We're going up to Utah, Idaho, Washington.
Wow.
We'll be out until September 1st, and then I'm flying out to Utah as well. Man.
Awesome. So tell us, brother, why this tour? What is the importance, the significance of this tour? Why do you got places in your heart?
You know, it all started with Purpose.
Okay.
Who's out there, came and he approached me about a tour.
Okay.
And he said that he was going to do one in August, and he felt like I had amazing plans for it. And I was like, let's do this, man. And then I went down to South by Southwest.
Okay.
When I was in South by Southwest, I went over and spent some time with Brother Five.
Okay.
And man, God moves in a crazy way through Brother Five, man. I mean, in this tour alone, within the first 3 days, the first day, I saw one brother have his leg grown out half an inch.
Wow.
Like, by the grace of God, man. And this dude, he's like, all the pain in my back is gone. Oh my goodness. You know,
praise God.
Praise the Lord, right? And then another day, we were just down in Abilene.
Okay.
And during the altar call, this brother comes up who's in the recovery program. He'd been walking on with a cane, and he had metal plates in his ankle, right?
Wow.
And this dude comes up. Five starts praying over him. We start praying over him.
Praise God.
And in a minute, right, this guy stands up, and he's like stepping on his leg. He's still got a little bit of a limp, but he's just starts bawling. You
wow.
know? And then we pray again and again, and by the end, this dude is on his leg, hopping. He's hopping on his leg. He's doing basketball moves, bro. He went and helped take the trash out. He's like, dude, I haven't been able to do that in 3 years.
And you know and that's what the church is about, man. I know when I grew up in church, that old school church. I mean, that was normal. Mm-hmm. You saw that on the regular. You saw healings like that. You saw demons casted out. You saw all these signs and wonders, and it was a beautiful thing, man. And I know that people don't think that this could come through a generation like us who love hip-hop, who love rock, who come from the streets, who've been delivered from these types of things. And look at God. I mean, Brother Five's he's a ex-methamphetamine addict, you know what I'm saying? And
coke addict,
and look who God is using, man.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? So
yeah, man.
I think it's dope, bro. I love what God is doing, and I love who he's doing it through. You know, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Lately I feel so alone, sometimes I feel like a ghost. Pieces of me fade away, leaving my life on the road, man, I feel like a ghost. Usually I'm all alone, losing the ones I love most. Faces they come and they go, faces they come and they go, this my life is a ghost. Lately I feel so alone, I gave so much away just to write you this song. What's a relationship to a man who knows he'll never be home? But this is my purpose, the reason God put me on the surface, to let them all know they were bought by the blood and they life ain't worthless. I look at my mom and I thank her for everything that she has done for me. And I pray to Jesus and ask that he provide my father with mercy. And thank you to Chris, you're the man of the house. Her life is my brother, you lifted me up even though I was down. I was causing a nuisance, disrupting the family. If it wasn't for my grandma, I promise you'd never be hearing me. And I keep losing my friends. Why do I lose all my friends? As my life is a ghost. My life is a ghost. Lately I feel so alone. Sometimes.
And you're back once again with the Light Show. I'm your host, Brother Cflo, here with special guest Thr33, here on tour in San Antonio.
Yeah, man.
And that video you just saw was called Ghost. Brother, when I heard that video, when I heard that song, I saw the video, I could relate, man. I know what that's like, being on tour and traveling what made you really want to put that out there? What made you? What was the thinking process behind that?
You know, I was in a rough time when I wrote that song. First, I had lost my grandmother, and then my closest friends around me that were like, "Man, I'm here for you. We're doing this for life, man." They all just started just out of nowhere, just disappeared, and I kind of was just left alone. I was left alone. I was in a really rough, a low place, and I had to learn to just lean into God's presence.
Wow.
To be able to love and appreciate who God is without having everyone else there as my crutch.
Wow.
To use God as my strength, And I grew so much in that time. I grew to a point where I just realized as long as I had the Lord, I was going to be okay.
Amen. Man, that's beautiful. So, what do you expect from this tour? I mean, you were talking about what God is already doing. At the end of the tour, when you sit back and you look back at everything that happened, what is it that you want to see the most? What do you want to see God doing through this tour?
Man, I want to see growth within myself, within my brothers. I want to see a oneness between me and the brothers. I want to see a revelation that God gives us, a revival. I want to see a fire start to spark within this whole entire nation, to the point where everybody inside of these venues, they don't just leave excited about a concert.
Right.
They leave excited about the Lord and what God is doing and what God can do through them,
That's right.
Because we're all parts of this army. It's a Christian army out here, man. We're just as important. They're just as important as us.
That's right.
We're out here. I like to think of it as a rally.
Okay.
A rally of the Christians, a rally or an open door for those to know who Christ is, because we go out there and we march in the name of the Lord. So I just want to go home and just look back and also just see a growth within myself so that God can use me at a greater and greater level through it all.
So how did you come to know Christ? How did this all start for you? I know people got different types of stories. Everyone's got a story, right? What was it for you? What made you come to the feet of Christ?
I got a pretty long story. Let me see if I can hit the points.
Let's go to it.
I started out young. I was an athlete, track and field athlete when I was just a kid, just elementary school. I would travel around the country, and I was placed second in the Junior Olympics.
Wow.
I was on the cover of Youth Runner magazine in 1999, and then when I hit middle school, I started having growing pains, problems in my knees, problems in my ankles, and at this time my identity was in running. Running was my, I didn't care what anyone think, because I'm like, I'm a runner, I'm going to be a professional athlete. And then I started getting slower. I went from placing second in Junior Olympics to being ranked 80th. My friends around me starting to kind of get as fast, where I wasn't this national phenomenon or whatever, Olympic hopeful anymore. I was just kind of beginning to be human again and just see the world kind of as it was. And I began to just kind of look for more purpose at that time. And actually I had a friend who introduced me to video games, right?
Okay.
And this is a crazy part of my testimony that Brian Trejo wants me to share a lot.
Oh, shout out to Brian, King of Music.
Man, I love you, Brian. And I've always thought, hey, this isn't very big. I don't need to share it. But at 7th grade, my friend showed me this game. It was called Warcraft 3. It was like a war game. And I started playing it, and I fell in love with this game, right? And what it turned into was a 12-year addiction to video games.
Wow.
Which was the worst addiction I've ever had. I mean, I was addicted to marijuana, Adderall pills, and all the alcohol, all the above. But this one was kind of the one that led into all of those things. I began to give up on my dreams, give up on everything I wanted, because when I was in this game, it was that temporary fix that I needed. It was another world.
Wow.
I didn't have to experience the world that we were living in. But what you start to realize when you waste your time, all of your time, you're spending 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day.
Man.
Time's the only thing that we can't get back.
That's true.
And what you don't realize when you're in this other world is that the real world is still going on.
Yeah.
So my grades were going backwards. My social life was going backwards. Everything was going backwards, and I no longer wanted to be an athlete anymore. I wanted to be a professional gamer. My school was all messed up, and everything was just messed up. But my natural talent in running helped me get through things, and I got a scholarship to college still. I had a 2.0. I graduated with a 2.0 barely. When I got to college, I got to college and my focus wasn't right. It was kind of right. I got the track part right. I wanted to run. I was working very hard to run, but I wasn't doing my schooling because I fell into the party scene. And I wasn't doing my homework because all I wanted to do was play my video games. And you can get through high school sometimes like not doing your homework, but college is different.
Yeah.
You know? And to anybody out here who's going to college, I just pray that you guys, when you go in, you understand that it's just not fun and games. You really need to focus on your degree.
Yeah.
You need to focus on getting through and going to every single class, because missing 1 day turns into 2 days, turns into 3 days. And anyways, I end up injuring my knee, and through just kind of going out, and I like to dance a lot. I was just doing some dumb things, and I injured my knee. And since I was grounded in my track and field, and I couldn't run anymore, I went into a depression. I ended up dropping out of college, you know. And so I go and I start living with my grandma. Basically, I have a friend who I met up there who was a backsliding Christian, actually. But we're together in a room and we were smoking. And for some reason he was like, yo, dude, let's look at the Bible. He's like, dude, I went to church. Let's look at the Bible. And I'm like, all right, bro, I guess let's look at the Bible, right? And he pulls out this huge book, and I remember being like, that is such a big book, and I have never read a book in my life, you know? And I'm like, what could be so awesome about this, right? And he opens it up, and I just remember him opening it up, and there was highlights everywhere, and he began to just know exactly where he was going. And when he was reading it, there was like this shine coming from his eyes, this joy that I had never seen from him, you know? Wow. He was so excited about what was going on in this book, and I was listening, and then everything was kind of hitting me too, and I'm like, wow, like there's something about this book, and like he's so in love with this book, and there's something shining through him, and I'm just like, became interested in the Bible. So another day goes by, and he does it again. He's like, let's do it again. I'm like, yeah, bro, let's get in the Bible, you know? We're going through the Word, and he begins. At the end of that one day, he's like, dude, have you ever given your life to Christ? And I said, I got baptized when I was a kid, you know, because I grew up a Lutheran. I went to a Lutheran church, but I never had that relationship with the Lord. I got confirmed, and after I got confirmed, I was like, sweet, I don't got to go to church anymore, you know. It was I just didn't know the Lord, you know. I went for all the wrong reasons. But that night I ended up giving my life to Christ. And after I gave my life to Christ, my life kind of started changing. But he left his Bible there, and I used to have horrible anxiety. I couldn't sleep, and I would be walking to my bedroom, and that Bible would like shock almost. Like there would be like a magnet, and I would look over, and I'm like, maybe I should read the Bible. And I'm like, nah, you know. And I got this thought. I'm like, either the Bible is the answer to everything I've been looking for, or it's the most evil thing in the world. That's what was going through my mind at that time. Wow. And one day I'm going through, and it just like jolts again, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna read the Word. I'm just gonna pick it up. Wow. And I pick it up and I start reading it, and my anxiety slips away, and I'm just like, and I go to sleep, you know. So I'm like, I'm gonna read this Bible every day. So I start reading the Bible, and I go to sleep, reading the Bible, and I go to sleep, and then where I was working, this lady didn't know that I was getting in the Word. I was kind of figuring out who Jesus was. She was just like, hey, you want to go to church? And I'm like, yes, I would love to go to church. And like, which I'm sure she wasn't exactly expecting. And I got there, and I just got in love with what the pastor was telling me. He was talking about Jesus, was talking about all this stuff. So I started just walking with the Lord. He said, hey, he said, I challenge you guys to come to church every week this month. And I took his challenge, and I went to church, you know. And my music, I was into my music, and this is kind of getting to the end, like to the amazing part. Like, I mean, that was amazing, you know, but I still didn't know Jesus. I had never been filled with, I'd say, what I call my second birth, you know, the second birth that the Lord talks about, like that baptism in the Spirit.
Yeah, that's what it is, brother.
And I go home one day, and I'm like, well, I'm a Christian now. What does this mean? You know, what can I do? What can't I do? I got to change my life somewhere, right? And I'm trying to figure out what is right and what's wrong. I'm like, can I drink? I'm like, I should be able to drink on the weekends, right? I mean, come on, Lord. You know, like, you know. And then the next one was like, can I smoke? I mean, it comes from the ground. Like, that's got to be God-given, right? Right, God? You know, and then the next one is like, can I even rap anymore? You know, is there such thing as Christian rap?
So you used to rap in the world before?
I did rap in the world.
Okay.
But I didn't start. My brother was a rapper. My brother has like 17 albums. One of the best rappers I've ever heard. But he still needs Jesus. I believe God's gonna use my life to bring him to the Lord. You know. But I had a revelation one day. I thought I wanted to kill myself. And because I felt like I was a plague to this world, kind of is how I felt, you know, that I was taking from the world more than I was giving back. And I just thought, look at the trees, and I was like, man, I could just pull my wheel and just go into those trees, man, like, and I felt like it would make it better. Like, my brother never got a deal, and I was like, if he had a story, maybe he could get a deal, you know, or my car, I didn't deserve my car. I got a lot of things. I didn't live right, and I got a lot of things I didn't necessarily deserve in life. But then God kind of put it on my heart before I knew it was the Lord that you've got a different outlook on life, Curtis. You see things that the world doesn't necessarily see, and I can use you to change this world. And when I figured that out, that it wasn't just the rap that I heard, because I didn't like rap because of what it stood for. And when I figured that out, I just had this revelation in me, like, I do have a worth. Wow. I do have an opportunity to.
And how long has it been since you've been ministering, brother?
So I started doing Christian rap about 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
I started rapping maybe 6 years ago. And basically, where I was at with figuring out the rap thing, like, can I even rap? And then this person sent me a song. And when the song came to me, she was like, hey, check out this song, you know? And I don't believe it was even a fully, like, Christian songs, but the words. God used every word to point to me to Christ. And when it turned on, I felt this presence over my body when it turned on. And I'm like, this is weird, right? and then the song starts, and every word was speaking directly to my soul. And I had an outpour of the Holy Spirit upon me, bro. And it started, and it said, pick it up, pick it all up, and start over again. You've got a second chance. You could go home, escape it all. It's just irrelevant. You've got a warm heart and a beautiful brain, but it's disintegrating from the medicine. And basically what that told me was all those questions I was asking. He said, take that alcohol, take that marijuana, take everything you're trying to justify right now and put it behind you, because I am yours. I am what's going to give you peace. It doesn't matter what you can and can't do. You just need me.
That's right.
Press into me. And if you want to rap, you can rap. But you're going to do it for me now.
That's right.
And all those other things you're trying to hold back is just the tip of the iceberg. I got so much more for you. Those things are just holding you, like that justification, that stuff going through you is holding you from the relationship with me. And that's the moment. And I broke down and I just cried with just joy of like,
Praise God.
Thank you, G. Like, how was I this dumb almost, you know, like it
hey,
was
man, but
simple.
we've all been there. We've all had our moments where God just had to reach us in our ignorance, man. And I thank God for his patience and his love through our ignorance. But speaking of more, what can we expect from you in the future? Are you working on any new albums, new videos, new tracks? What can we be looking on the lookout for?
I'm gonna be shooting. Well, I just shot a new music video with Hood Saint, who's on Kingdom Music, called Christ-like. That one's awesome.
Christ-like. We'll be on the lookout.
Yeah, I'm shooting a video right now with Jesse called Songs to God. That's the first track on my album. Kind of like one of the one that's the most well known on my first album. And my next album is coming out called The Growing Process.
Okay.
And The Growing Process, I wrote it over about 1.5 years, so it's literally the album is a growing process.
It shows the different levels of growth.
Going through,
that's awesome, man.
Through that growth of being where I was like, man, like God, like, is this really what you want me to do? But holding on and holding on and holding on, and then suddenly meeting Brian Trejo and being part of Kingdom Music, and then kind of that growth of where God has taken me through my obedience, through my love for Him, and through my willingness to just follow what He has for me, man.
Well, we'll definitely be on the lookout, brother. We thank you for chatting with us, kicking it with us. Guys, thanks for watching The Light Show. It's your boy Cflo, Thr33. Peace.